Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a deep look into one of the most secretive and powerful operations ever associated with American air power. The question of how US B-2 stealth bombers could strike heavily protected nuclear sites deep inside Iran. This topic has attracted huge attention because the B-2 is not just another bomber. It is an aircraft designed to slip past the most advanced radar networks, deliver precision weapons, and return home without ever being seen. But how could such a mission work in practice? What would the challenges be, and what does the world need to understand about long-range stealth strikes, political decisions, and the risks involved? This video breaks everything down in simple, short paragraphs, so you can easily follow the entire picture. To understand how the B-2 could strike underground nuclear facilities, we first need to understand what the B-2 Spirit actually brings to the table. It is a flying wing, engineered from the ground up to be nearly invisible to radar. The aircraft reflects radar waves in such a way that detection becomes extremely difficult. This gives the US an enormous advantage in missions where air defense systems would normally detect incoming aircraft from hundreds of kilometers away. The B-2, however, is designed to cross borders, fly over enemy territory, and hit strategic targets without warning. This is why the bomber is considered a key asset for missions that require penetrating defenses. Iran's nuclear sites are some of the most hardened and protected facilities in the world. Many of them are buried deep underground, surrounded by concrete layers, shielded by anti-aircraft defenses, and located in mountainous terrain. Facilities like Natanz and Fordo are known for being heavily fortified. This is why any discussion of striking these locations focuses on specialized weapons and stealth capabilities. The public often hears about bunker-busting bombs, electronic warfare, and cyber operations, but the central question is whether the US could launch a successful strike without triggering a wider regional conflict or losing aircraft in the process. A mission involving B-2 bombers would begin long before the aircraft even take off. Planning such an operation takes months, sometimes years, of intelligence gathering. Satellite imagery, signals intelligence, radar mapping, computer simulations, and classified surveillance tools would be used to build an exact picture of Iran's air defense network. The US would attempt to identify radar blind spots, moments of vulnerability, and the best pathways for the aircraft to travel silently across the region. Stealth is not just about the aircraft itself. It is also about flying the right route at the right time and avoiding unnecessary exposure. The B-2's long-range capability is another critical factor. These aircraft can fly directly from the United States to the Middle East and back with the help of aerial refueling. The mission could take over 30 hours, requiring multiple in-air refueling operations. Tanker aircraft would have to be stationed at safe distances, avoiding Iranian detection and staying out of hostile range. The coordination required is enormous because every refueling window must be timed perfectly. A delay of even a few minutes could disrupt the aircraft's arrival at the target area. The weapons used in such a mission would also be highly specialized. The US possesses a class of weapons designed to penetrate hardened underground structures. These weapons are engineered to reach deep layers of earth and concrete before detonating. The B-2 can carry such weapons internally, maintaining its stealth profile while approaching the target. However, dropping these weapons is not as simple as flying over a location and releasing them. The aircraft must calculate wind speed, altitude, speed, and the exact angle of approach to ensure the weapon impacts the correct location on the ground. Iran's defenses consist of radar systems, surfaced, where missiles, interceptor aircraft, and electronic warfare tools. Some of the systems are domestically built, while others are sourced from foreign suppliers. These defenses rely on overlapping coverage, communication networks, and command centers that monitor the airspace. The B-2 stealth allows it to exploit weaknesses, but no defense system is completely predictable. This means that operators must assume some level of risk. An unexpected radar detection, a miscalculated route, or sudden weather changes could alter the stealth profile. The U.S. would also likely use supporting assets to increase the mission's success rate. These can include electronic warfare aircraft, intelligence drones, or naval platforms positioned in the region. These assets would not participate directly in the strike, but would help create confusion within enemy sensors. They could jam certain frequencies, intercept communications, or gather last-minute intelligence. The goal is not to announce the attack, but to reduce the chances of early detection. Timing is everything in such a strike. The aircraft must arrive over the target at the exact window when defenses are least alert, or when radar coverage is weakest. This can depend on the rotation of personnel, nighttime visibility, atmospheric conditions, or even political events happening at that moment. A well-executed stealth mission depends on blending into the noise of the electronic environment. The B-2's low radar signature helps, but the mission still relies on human decision, making timing calculations and real-time intelligence updates. After the weapons are released, the aircraft must exit the region without being detected. This is often the most stressful part of the mission because defenses may become more alert once explosions are detected. Operators may scramble aircraft, activate additional radar, or launch anti-air missiles blindly into the air. The B-2 must navigate away from the danger zone while maintaining stealth discipline and radio silence. Speed is not the bomber's main defense, invisibility is. The geopolitical consequences of such a strike would also be enormous. Regional partners, global powers, and international institutions would react immediately. Some nations might support the action, arguing that nuclear proliferation must be stopped. Others may condemn the strike as a violation of sovereignty. The global oil market could react instantly. Shipping routes could become threatened. International negotiations could collapse. This is why political leaders think very carefully before considering such an operation. A strike on nuclear sites does not automatically solve the larger issue. Underground facilities can be repaired over time. Engineers can relocate equipment or rebuild infrastructure. The deeper challenge is preventing future development. This is why military action is often combined with diplomacy, sanctions, and international oversight. The goal is not only to delay a nuclear program, but to create long-term agreements that reduce the need for future conflict. The B-2 is a symbol of American strategic power, but it is not used lightly. Every mission carries enormous risk. Pilots must endure extreme flight durations, maintain psychological focus, and operate under immense pressure. The aircraft systems must perform flawlessly. Even the smallest mechanical issue, if left unchecked, could compromise the mission. This is why maintenance crews train continuously to keep the aircraft at peak readiness. Stealth operations also rely on secrecy. The public usually learns about these missions long after they happen, if at all. Information is often classified to protect future capabilities. Analysts study radar logs, performance data, and mission recordings to refine tactics for future operations. This continuous improvement cycle keeps the aircraft relevant in a world where air defense technology is constantly evolving. If an actual strike were ever carried out, the world would likely witness rapid changes in regional political dynamics. Iran might respond militarily or through asymmetrical strategies. Allies of the US might be forced to strengthen their security postures. Global organizations would hold emergency meetings. The success of the strike would not necessarily determine the outcome of the conflict. Instead, it would mark the beginning of a new geopolitical phase. The mission's success would depend not only on hardware, but also on intelligence accuracy. If the coordinates of a bunker are even slightly incorrect, the weapon may not hit the intended chamber. Underground facilities are complex, often containing multiple layers, tunnels, storage rooms, and command centers. This makes targeting more challenging than striking surface buildings. Intelligence agencies must verify every detail to avoid wasted strikes. Weather is another major factor. Cloud cover, atmospheric density, and wind direction can affect weapon trajectory and radar performance. Stealth aircraft perform best in certain weather conditions. Pilots must constantly adjust their flight profiles to avoid giving off unnecessary infrared signatures or turbulence wake patterns that advanced sensors could theoretically detect. Communication is usually kept to a minimum during such missions. The aircraft may fly in radio silence for hours, relying on encrypted command signals at specific intervals. This reduces the chance of detection. Every transmission is carefully timed and encoded. Silent coordination reflects the discipline required in operations of this magnitude. The human element inside the cockpit is often overlooked. Pilots train repeatedly using simulators that mimic Iranian airspace, defenses, and terrain. They rehearse emergency scenarios, evasion tactics, and weapon release sequences. Endurance is critical because missions may last over a full day without proper sleep. This pressure requires exceptional physical and mental conditioning. The aftermath of such a mission would involve rapid intelligence assessment. Satellites, drones, and reconnaissance aircraft would examine the strike zones to determine the level of damage. Analysts would assess whether underground equipment was destroyed or merely damaged. They would also evaluate Iran's response, air defense activation logs, and communication patterns. This helps shape diplomatic messaging and future decisions. Even though the B-2 is a powerful asset, it is not invincible. Modern nations continue to upgrade their radar systems, developing sensors that focus on low-frequency wavelengths. These wavelengths are harder for stealth aircraft to counter, although detection is still challenging and imprecise. This cat-and-mouse pattern between stealth and detection technology shapes the future of air power. In the broader context, a strike on nuclear sites is not simply a military action. It is a strategic message. It communicates capability, intention, and readiness. It warns adversaries while reassuring allies. But it also brings risks of escalation, miscalculation, and unintended consequences. This delicate balance shapes every decision related to long-range stealth missions. The U.S. does not rely solely on the B-2 for such operations. Future aircraft like the B-21 Raider are expected to carry even more advanced stealth features, electronic warfare capabilities, and longer endurance. These aircraft will operate alongside drones, satellites, and cyber tools, forming a multi-layered approach to strategic deterrence. Iran, meanwhile, continues to improve its defensive strategies. Underground facilities are being expanded, air defense networks strengthened, and regional partnerships deepened. This creates a more complex environment for any potential strike. The evolution of missile technology, radar detection methods, and air defense integration will shape the feasibility of future operations. International diplomacy remains the most important factor in preventing conflict. While military capabilities provide leverage, long-term stability depends on agreements, inspections, and communication channels. The world has witnessed the consequences of military escalation many times, and nations generally prefer negotiated solutions over warfare. Still, military options remain on the table to ensure deterrence. In the end, the idea of B-2 bombers striking nuclear sites is not just a military scenario. It represents a combination of politics, technology, intelligence, strategy, and human judgment. Each factor influences the next. The B-2 remains one of the world's most respected and mysterious aircraft, capable of shaping global events without ever being seen. But its true power lies in the ability to deter conflict rather than initiate it. Understanding such a mission requires looking beyond the aircraft itself. It demands an understanding of geography, engineering, defense systems, global alliances, and the psychology of decision-making. It involves predicting reactions, preparing for worst-case scenarios, and forming strategies that balance force with restraint. The question of how the B-2 could strike Iran's nuclear sites is ultimately a story of preparation, precision, risk, and uncertainty. The world may never see such a mission happen, but analyzing the possibility reveals the complexity of modern warfare and the extraordinary capabilities developed over decades of